What's up, everyone? It is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. I'm Jake Hari here to break down another slate with Nolan Kelly. Nolan, our news and notes guy. Can you hear that in my headphone? Could you hear that right there? That ad
What?
playing?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay, good. Yeah, there was an ad playing really loud on YouTube in my head,
Huh.
or in my earphone. So maybe the audience heard that and you didn't. But luckily, we've only got a few people in here. How are you doing today, Nolan?
Not too bad. Nursing a little hangover from Christmas festivities. I'm like, this is like day one of 8 in a row, so I just got to suck it up and get through it,
Yeah, that's the theme for the holidays, right?
right? Yeah.
Um,
I'm ready for January. I'm ready for the kale salads in the gym, but
oh gosh, sounds brutal. Kale
yeah.
salad.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So this slate. Well, actually, let's talk about kind of last night and the last couple of days. How have things
Yeah.
been going for you?
Like the 2 game slate I did pretty well. Finished I think 8th or something in the big $8. So that wasn't bad. And then last night was just a bloodbath. I was a little bit busy, so I didn't put a lot of lineups in. But it looks like it was the Toronto PP1 stack that did it. So I don't think anyone, like, I looked at the top of that leaderboard and it wasn't like a who's who of DFSers. I'm guessing. I don't think anyone had a really good night. So
Yeah. The
one of those off nights.
right, the 5 man or the 4 man power play stack just crushed everything. So if you had the 3 centers, it was a popular cash build with the 3 Toronto centers.
Was it? That's smart. That's a
Yeah,
smart play.
just because they all play in the power play together, and then you're basically catching at least an assist or two on every
Yeah.
Toronto goal because they're so spread out. But yeah, it just worked out like that for a lot of people that played cash, and then Anderson was a cashy goalie as well. So yeah, they all got there, and kind of you didn't see the typical 3 man forward stacks going off on a bigger slate. So
No.
that's why you
No.
didn't see the pros up there, I don't think.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, they're gonna have those nights, but that's good to know. Like, if you want to differentiate from the pros and you're not MMEing huge lineups, try something different. Maybe try some of these power play stacks. Try something a little bit unique, and then like just kind of hope to catch fire. Hope to catch one of these off nights where like these line stacks don't go off.
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely a viable strategy. Power play stacking, something like that. Toronto
Yeah.
doesn't draw penalties, though, dot, dot, dot. I don't know if you saw the show yesterday, but we had pointed out that Toronto hadn't done a great job of
Hmm.
drawing penalties. And they actually only had 3 last night, Matt says, but they scored on all 3 power plays. So, yeah, you don't have to be
Yes.
great at drawing penalties when you convert at that rate.
Yeah, 6.9. Is that like? I'm just looking at. Where do you get those numbers? I always go to
So
like Fox Sports because they
you
seem
can
to
go
have.
on ESPN.
Okay.
They have a pretty good page with like power play percentage, time shorthanded. One of the few things they actually do well in their hockey content. They don't really care about hockey at all because they don't have a TV deal with them anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I use. I mean, you can see time shorthanded and like I said, power
Nice.
play percentage and power play opportunities and stuff. But yeah, it just didn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't a fast, talented team like Toronto be able to draw some penalties? And maybe
Yeah.
they will start to, but they were like
Yeah,
lowest
it's
in the league.
really. I mean, it's still 35 games in. Sometimes these things will even out over the course of the season. Obviously, that's a pretty big sample size,
For
but
sure.
we're getting there. How did you do? How you been taking
Uh,
anything down lately?
Good. Yeah, I had a decent weekend, and then pretty good Monday, and kind of been around breaking even. I actually won a ticket to this showdown qualifier. Did
Nice.
you see? Have you played any of the showdowns lately?
No,
Yeah, I've been
no.
playing more of them just because they seem really soft. And
Yeah.
so I entered in one, and I didn't really know I was entering in a qualifier. I thought it was just like a $3 10 max or 15 max, whatever it was. So I just
Yeah.
threw my lineups in there and ended up getting first in it. So
Nice.
that's
Good for
on.
you, man.
Yeah, thanks. That's on January 1st, I think. It's on New Year's Day. So
Sweet.
who knows?
Are you?
We'll see.
What's your showdown strategy? I noticed like we finished like 1-2 or 2-3 in a small one a couple
Yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah.
We both had like the Minnesota 2 stack. I went with a goalie. You went goalie less, and the guy who won. Oh no, yeah, guy who won went goalie. So
Yeah. I mean, I would. Did you do one lineup for that, by the way?
yeah, I just won. It was
Yeah,
like a
that's pretty
small
good.
field, right? I think it was like
Yeah, it was just
12.
it was a wild afternoon game, and it was going to be on TV for me because all of the games are. So I was
Silly.
just like, oh well, I'll play $20 on this or something and just watch, and
I think that's why as well. Like Zucker was out late, so I thought maybe you could catch a couple people and get that rig taken care of, but it didn't happen. People were in on that Greenway news.
Yeah, I think we're just in such a small field tournament that it was late enough where people saw that. But I don't know. I mean, nothing really changes on Showdown besides the pricing. Like, there's some guys that are really mispriced. Like, a couple nights ago, it was Gensel, and I played the Crosby-Gensel Rust line. I think that was my best one. It was the Washington-Pittsburgh Showdown. And so I played the full line, played Murray the goalie, and then I just made a rule in Fantasy Cruncher where I could play up to 2 guys against my goalie. So I had Ovechkin, who had a bunch of shots, and then Niskanen, who ended up getting an assist, and it just kind of fit perfectly, and that was what he needed. So
yeah. So definitely same principles apply, I guess, for showdowns. Just stack one line. You could even stack 2 lines too.
Yeah. So if you can stack 2, I mean, that's something I like to do, especially with MME.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That's
as we get more and more deeper into the playoff, showdown slates become a huge part of NHL DFS. That's all you got, right? So I had a lot of success with it last year too. Like, I think that's a viable strategy, just like stacking a less popular line. But
yeah, I was playing like the high stakes stuff in the playoffs last year, and I was getting crushed on showdown. But I think MME is the way to go, or multiple lineups, like the 3 max, something like that, and spread around your exposure, because it's already random enough on like a 10-game slate, and you make it just one game, and all of a sudden a 4th liner gets a goal, and you're just buried. So just have fun with it. But,
Ryan Reeves.
Right, yeah, exactly. But yeah, nothing crazy like that happened in the Pittsburgh game, so I did pretty well.
Nice.
Stahl,
awesome.
Zucker, 35%, Greenway 5% in the big tourney for that slate. They weren't skating together though. It was. Are you talking about? Wait, which tourney are you talking about, Matt? Last night? Oh, Stahl Granlund. Okay. Yeah, Greenway was 5%. I mean, he shouldn't have been, because he wasn't with Granlund and Zucker, or Granlund Stahl last night. So, yeah. That is interesting, though. Like, people just, some of these top pros that have a lot of money to throw around, like Alex, they've got NBA, like we always talk about. And the NBA and the NHL locks are usually the same exact time. So they've got maybe 5 or 10 times their volume on NBA, and there's news that can break 2 minutes before the slate lock. So they're obviously going to prioritize that and not maybe look at some of these late line changes. So, that's definitely an edge if you are paying attention, if you're only playing NHL, like I think me and you are, Nolan, and probably Matt as well.
NFL, but no NBA for sure. I'm unless it's like once in a while, I guess, dabble and lose some money. But
you should play NFL this weekend. Can you play on Yahoo? Or you're Canadian, right? You can't.
No.
Yeah, damn.
So pissed off at that.
Oh,
stupid.
That's the worst.
It's been years too, because like Yahoo was like one of the first sites, I feel like, to offer some of the season-long money games. So like you had like the $50, like now we have draft, obviously, or play draft or whatever. Sure. But Yahoo had those, and I loved to do season-long before I was DFS, and like Yahoo's never bothered with the Canadian market, and I don't get it either. Like, I hope that they will change their policy, but I don't understand what the reasoning is, because it's legal in Canada, right? So I'm not sure.
I have no clue. Like, you can do everything in Canada. I'm jealous, except for playing the guaranteed overlay contest on Yahoo. Did you see they're doing that for NBA too? Like,
is that right?
I played it the other night, and I just fired up the optimizer and used Josh Engelman. I cashed pretty easily, and I had no idea what I was doing. But it's just such a soft tournament.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess, and that's the thing too. Like, you get these new they want to enter the market. The tournaments are going to be soft just because the players are probably like a lot of newbies as well, right? Coming over from their season-long leagues. So definitely, if you can play there, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't think I'm going to make a DraftKings NFL lineup this week. And I don't play like huge stakes, but it's just, it makes so much sense to just go over to Yahoo if you don't play thousands of dollars.
Though. I will say that I thought in the lead up to lock, it's looking like this might fill, but in the lead up to lock last week, I think the Millie Maker didn't fill up. Probably like 5 or 10,000 extra. I could be wrong on that, but I thought it was getting close to not filling up. And so I put a couple teams in at the end. So like because the Yahoo tournaments, like people may, because what you're doing, people may not fill that up. There may be some overlay on DK or FanDuel as well. So just keep an eye on that for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime you overlay.
Yeah. I mean, you always want to play overlay. I did see that actually. I ended up making a DraftKings lineup. I was like waiting for Buffalo Wild Wings or something, and I was like, well, let's check the tournaments. And it was 20 minutes before, and I saw it, just everything was going to overlay.
Yeah. Speaking of massive overlay, not to get too sidetracked here, but did you ever get in on that $125 draft overlay on the best ball championship?
No.
It was massive. It was like 1/3 of the tournament didn't fill up, and it was guaranteed. It was the beginning of the season, so I was just like throwing teams in. All of them failed. Just a giant waste of money because season-long best ball. It was my first dabble into that. It's a little bit hard to get a hang of, but yeah, that was huge. So I'm kind of hoping for another one next year. But anyways.
People in the chat, Brian saying, great article the other day. Nolan, the testosterone one. Yeah, so Nolan, if you just want to talk about that, and then I just got something to add. Go ahead. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think what we're going to do, I was talking to some of the higher ups, and I think we're going to start doing that a little bit more, maybe like just sort of analyzing different slates, seeing like what they do for certain slates, and if it's like dependent on who's playing or if it's dependent on like how big the slate is. My guess is a lot of it doesn't change for some of these pros, and I think they attack it in very similar ways, but also there's probably going to be some trends. I think like for me, the biggest takeaway that I wrote out, what I was shocked about was just like the zero ownership of some defensemen. Like he paid up for Yossi, paid up for can't remember who the other defensemen were, but zero, like to go like that heavy and then just to have that much conviction and not take some of these other defensemen was like really pronounced, because he doesn't have conviction on a lot of lines. Like he'll dabble with percentages and obviously like have higher percentages of certain lines, but like no certain high priced defenseman was a bit of a shock to me. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I mean, you always want to look at what pros are doing, and we've been talking kind of informally about what they've been doing, and it's something that I've learned from a different stream, and Manny Laura's stream. I don't know if you know about him. He does like these pro player studies. He does them for other sports. He's done one for NHL, and I think the guy he studied was actually testosterone.
Yeah, Tom actually emailed me the other day, and like he was like, he wondered if I'd stolen it from him or something. I've never watched the show before. I don't have Twitch but
no. I mean, so he does something similar, but he does a lot of like NBA and NFL stuff, and I've learned a lot from there.
Nice.
So definitely, if you guys want to check it out for other sports or whatever, it's Manny Laura's Twitch stream. He's a pretty popular guy in the industry.
Does he still do? Well, he was on FanVice too, right? Does he still do? He still does it on Twitch?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does Twitch all the time. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just wanted to kind of shout out there. Yeah, you should. All right, so we got a few people in chat, and we kind of rambled on here for a few minutes. But there's only 3 games to talk about, and it's Colorado one night, right? So, dude, it seems like every single time there's a short slate, like 3 to 5 games, it's always Colorado one in like the best spot, like not even close. So,
do we know who's starting for the Blackhawks yet? Is it Ward or that AHL guy?
Does it really matter? Delia?
I mean, that guy had some solid AHL numbers, so I think he's probably an upgrade on Cam Ward, but I don't like. It's pretty hard not to be an upgrade on Cam Ward, I think.
And it's only Cam Ward on a. It's not only Cam Ward. It's Cam Ward on a back-to-back. After they just won last night, a game they probably they had no business winning that game, but
they're pretty damn bad. So.
Oh, they're so bad. They're brutal. I don't know how they won. I didn't watch the game, but. They're just such a worse team than Dallas.
Yeah. Do you want to go? Oh yeah, that screwed me last night. I was all in on Dallas.
That'll do it.
Do you want to go game by game here, or how do you want to get?
Yeah, let's do game by game. We'll do our quick run through as we always do. We'll start with Ottawa and New Jersey. Looks like we've got some errors on our team totals here, but looks like 2.6 for Ottawa, 3.4 for the Devils. We have Craig Anderson, Keith Kincaid going for their respective teams tonight. We've got a return of one notable player on Ottawa. You want to kind of talk about news for this game, Nolan?
Oh, yeah. So Matt Duchene returns. Some new line combinations for Ottawa. The Ottawa 1, or I think it's still called Ottawa 1. Maybe it's Ottawa 2 now. It's Ottawa 2 now. But that line still stays the same. Tierney and Boker Ottawa 1, and then Zingle is off the power play 1. He's replaced by Duchesne, and then he goes with Zach Smith and Bobby Ryan. So, and then Dylan DeMello, is that how you say his name? DeMello?
DeMello, I think so. Yeah.
He's back in as well, playing with Chabot. So, yeah, I think that's it for Ottawa news and notes.
Sure. And then so we've got.
And then
this...
on the other side, we got the Devils. Johansson left the game in the second period last night, so I think everyone's kind of expecting New Jersey the big boys to be reunited. So if that happens, that's we were just talking a little bit before that we went live, but that's a huge advantage going into that. I think if it turns out they're together, you probably get some discounted ownership if you want to switch up some of those lines or put them in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because right now I'm trying to open up Fantasy Cruncher just to see what they have, because I know that's what a lot of these top players use. I mean, I use it. I think that's kind of the go-to optimizer for most people. And I want to see if they still have the lines from yesterday as their defaults, because I don't think a lot of people change those, and you can change those. So just be aware of that. If you want to have Hall with Hischier and Palmieri, which is what I've done, then you're gonna have to do that manually, I think. So
and it's even if it ends up they're not together or something, you want to put them in. Obviously, they still have the power play correlation, and the Devils can still switch things up in game. So I like going with those three. I think they're reasonably priced. Ottawa's power play is near the worst in the league. So this all shapes up like pretty well for them. And then if you want to like pop in some little bit of Boyle or Butcher, then you've kind of got a little bit of a unique Devils stack as well.
Yeah, so we've still got Taylor Hall listed on the second line, and then just for reference, they've got Palmieri on line 1. So they're different lines. So change that if you would like. Maybe a possible edge. And even if you don't, like, even if we get the lines before the game that the big three are back together, you're still gonna have an edge on a lot of people who just fire up Fantasy Cruncher and throw in their lineups. So
true. And like I would expect Johansson to be out. I don't know about you, but like I think leaving mid-period and not return, or leaving in the middle of a game and not returning and then playing on the next night, probably not a good sign. So
yeah. So would you?
I was a betting man.
I would agree. Usually not a good sign coming back the next day if you miss 2 full periods. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. How about your boy Will Butcher? Is this fire him up spot?
God. He's
I'm in at that price.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's the price I would be comfortable playing him at. You know, when he's below 4K and he's still getting
below 4K. He gets like 12 to 13 minutes a game, like with this top line. Yeah. He's on the top power play unit. He's obviously not as good a player as Sami Vatanen, but or even probably Severson for that matter. But he's still just, I think, such a good value tonight that I'll be throwing him into a lot of lineups.
Yeah, they just keep playing him on the top power play and refuse to put Vatanen up there. So, I mean, I will have some Vatanen for sure with Hall, Hischier, Palmieri, just because you still do get Vatanen and Hischier on that second power play. But, yeah, it's hard to pass up on the Will Butcher value.
I must have missed that. Is Zajac been on the first power play for a while now?
I think a game or two.
Okay, I totally missed that.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's all right. Yeah, it looks okay. So they kind of split time between the 3 pairings at home. I thought they used the Vatanen pairing as shutdown, but maybe I'm thinking of last season, and especially with Severson, I'm not sure. That line might see a little bit more time with Hall, Hischier, Palmieri if that's the line that we see for the Devils. So I think you can stack them up with any of those 3, Butcher, Vatanen, and Severson, but the value with Butcher and then the power play 1 tag will get a lot of attention, I'm sure, and rightfully so. What would you expect the second line to look like if there's no Johansson?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because, like, I think also another strategy would be to pair, like, whatever these second and third Devils lines are, they're probably, if Hall goes up to number 1, they're probably going to be very cheap and not bad stacking options for Colorado because a lot of people aren't going to have them. I would say probably the third line would stay together, or it's like, what was the line before? Was it Wood, Coleman, and Zacha, or Wood, Coleman, Zajac?
Wood, Coleman. The third line right now, it looks like it's Wood, Zacha, and Quenneville.
But like I know they were using Wood and Coleman together for a while. Like that was their line.
Oh, I thought that was Zacha. Or I'm sorry, I thought that was Zajac with Wood and Coleman.
Zajac. So
I
that
could be
could be,
wrong.
and that line right there was actually getting a ton of ice time together when they were together. They were like beating out New Jersey one, so on a lot of nights. So I think that if they get put back together and Wood moves up to the second line spot, I don't know who would come in on the left wing and on the like I don't know who they bring in, but or it could be like Bratt moves up as well, like.
Sure. Yeah, this would be a perfect night if you have the luxury of time to wait until 6:30 to crunch. Wait until you see the lines, make quick adjustments. The cruncher is going to move super fast on a 3-game slate. It's not going to have to calculate all these different games. So it's moving crazy fast right now. So you're not going to have issues even if you go the full 150, like crunching in time. So if you can be around at 6:30 Eastern for these Devils lines, if you are in fact playing some Devils, is my best advice.
Yeah, what's your take on like middle six for New Jersey? You into firing those up with some Colorado one or Washington one stacks or Buffalo one?
Yeah, I would like Miles Wood and Zajac and Coleman together if that was going to be a thing. So I'm hoping we see that one.
That's probably the strongest one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then Quenneville and Zaka have been kind of garbage this year, so
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not super high on them, but at the same time, cheap line. Like that's
Zaka just doesn't do much. Like he's pretty talented, but he just I just keep waiting for him to do something. I don't know.
Not great.
Yeah. What about
Ottawa
side
side of this game? Do you like? I've crunched a couple. You can almost get Ottawa 2 with a Colorado 1, but it's like what and like $2,500 D, but you can't.
Yep.
It's like you have to take the Chicago goalie, I think, or something. But Ottawa, I think you can do Ottawa 1 and Ottawa 3 with Colorado 1 if you so desire. And yeah, I don't know what you think. Like I'm kind of on New Jersey a little bit this game, but I mean I think Ottawa's a pretty good play too, so they're reasonably priced.
I mean I'm partial to that White Stone Kachuk line. I just think that's by far their best one, their best full line. You've got Kachuk and Stone on the top power play, and they go best with Shabbat, who's going to be the anchor on a lot of my lineups, one-offs or in Ottawa stacks. So that's the line I prefer to go to. I agree, though. The other line that's in play here is the Duchesne line. I just hate his line mates, Bodker and Tierney. They just don't really do a ton for me. But like you said, they're one of the lines where if you get really punty and go with like an Anderson as your correlated goalie with Ottawa 1, you can fit Colorado 1 as well. So that's appealing. I mean, any line you can fit with Colorado 1 is going to have some ownership tonight. And I just think that since you can't do it with Ottawa 2, they're going to come in maybe around the same ownership as the Duchesne line, and that's appealing to me.
I agree.
Outside of Shabbat, for me, who is going to be, again, one of my highest exposed players, Lejoie is fine for 4K, and I guess DeMello, but they've priced him up a little bit, and he's not someone that like attempts a bunch of shots or anything like that. But 3,200, he's probably going to play 20-plus minutes if he indeed stays with Shabbat. And he's not terrible, so he would be the other guy besides the two power play guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Goalies here, we've got Craig Anderson, Kincaid. I think Kincaid is probably a little overpriced, but 3-game slate, I don't know. I'm making 75 lineups is my plan right now, so I'm going to have some of every goalie.
I think as well, Anderson's pretty like if you're taking some Ottawa players, I don't mind correlating Anderson at all. Like he's going to see a ton of shots tonight, so he's been playing pretty well of late. And the Senators allow the most shots in the NHL per game, and the Devils generate the 6th most shots per game. So, and I think they're like 12th in high danger chances for. So at least there's a little bit of a gap there. I like him as your contrarian goalie, cheap goalie play of the week, and he's underpriced too, I think.
Sure. All right, let's move it on to the other 7 Eastern game. We've got the Buffalo Sabres and the Washington Capitals. Carter Hutton expected to go for the Sabres. Make sure you confirm Braden Holtby for the Caps. And we've got pretty much a one-line team for the Sabres, and then 2, maybe 3 lines in play here. Probably 3 lines in play for the Capitals. What are you doing with this game, Nolan? What's the news we need to know?
Yeah, so I just brought up this. Hang on for a sec. I was clicking on the how to pronounce Lawrence Pilou's line. Pilut?
Is it? I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask. I have no idea
working.
These guys.
I know I'm terrible at this. I mean to look these guys up, these new guys, but that guy's torn up the AHL this year. He's averaging like more than a point a game, and he's on the top pairing if he comes back from the DL tonight with Ristolainen. So I like him as your punt play for 2,500. I think that's really good values on the power play too. He'll probably get close to 20 minutes of ice time, so I like that. As far as news and notes, obviously the Buffalo Sabres have some new lines as well, so they've mixed up their middle six, and like they're all really cheap. So I like, well, I have a couple teams with just Buffalo 2 and Colorado 1, Buffalo 3, Colorado 1, just because why not, right? I think like each one of those lines has the chance to go off, and they're all like Connor Sheary, I think, is the most expensive player, and he's like 3,700 on DraftKings. So those just from a value standpoint, those two lines are really nice. And then I think maybe the smartest play on the night, I don't know what your thoughts are. I know you've been targeting opposing one lines against Washington, and just because they gave up so many high danger chances against. So perhaps the sneakiest play as far as the big line stacks go is Buffalo 1 tonight, but I don't know what you think.
I think Buffalo 1 is going to be higher owned the higher you go up in stakes. So they're very good offensively. I think the sharper guys know that Washington, like you said, gives up a ton of high danger chances. They're just not that great. They take a bunch of penalties. They're not great on the kill. And you've got a one-line team that's going to get a ton of minutes, full power play correlation. So hard to dislike them tonight. And especially with this guy, Pilut, who is $2,500 and probably going to see a decent amount of time with the top line. So you can go with him or Ristolainen or Dahl.
And he's still listed, I say this already, I can't remember, but he's still listed as on the DL, I think, on DraftKings. So that should lower his ownership a lot. Yeah,
and then the other line I'm kind of liking for Buffalo, and it's really just to fit in Colorado 1, is the Middlestat, Oposo, Jurgensen line. I'm taking a couple stabs there. I might have one share of the Sabatka, Sheary, Rodriguez line, but the only reason that I would have that is to get more Colorado 1 exposure.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably a pretty sweet play. I think it'll be a little bit more owned than the other Buffalo line, but it's obviously a better line as well. Yeah. So, definitely like that a lot. And then we have both Rasmus's on the power play again. So, yeah, I like it. I don't mind it at all. What are you doing for the Washington side of things here?
I really like the Kuznetsov line. They fit in with basically everyone but Colorado 1. So, again, they're going to have like these mid-tier lines that you can't fit in with Colorado 1, I think are just going to be pretty low owned no matter what stakes you're looking at, because you want the powerhouse line. But if a couple of these lines have ceiling games, that's going to be the nuts, as long as one of the super cheap lines, the Buffalo 3s or the New Jersey 3s or something like that, doesn't go nuts
doesn't
either.
Go off. Yeah, so that's a great point, right? Like sometimes we think about ownership in terms of how on the top lines are going to be. But if this Colorado line goes off and none of the other cheap lines go off, which is entirely possible, you're just left holding nothing. Like unless you've mixed and matched, you're not stacking or something. Right. But you're basically like you're looking at it. There's probably about 8 lines, not including fourth lines, probably about 8 lines on the slate that you can fit with Colorado 1, maybe less than that. So if those lines don't go off, then your Colorado 1 teams aren't going to do that well. Maybe they'll cash, but
exactly.
Yeah.
And we're going for the win here, right? So, you go
Yeah.
with Ottawa 1, you go with, or I guess it's listed as Ottawa 2, the Stone line, and something like Washington power play
2.
stack, or Washington 2, and you're going to get a different lineup. You're going to be able to fit a better top-end defenseman, whether it's Shabbat or Carlson or someone like that. And you're just going to be different than the Colorado 1 teams. And while I am playing a bunch of Colorado 1, on the teams that I'm not playing them, I want to have a bunch of unique lineups in my portfolio. So I like double mids here.
That's a smart move from a macro roster construction standpoint, for sure.
And you can also fit him with Buffalo 1. And I think this game has the potential to go off as much as any of the other two. So
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know what you think, but I don't know what's going to go on with the starting goalie for Chicago, but if we're getting like a rookie making his first start, like that's just an unknown variable. I feel like you just like, you never know, like the kid could stand on his head. Like I'd way rather see Cam Ward if I'm going with the Colorado
Agreed.
guys because it's more of a known quantity. But
Agreed.
Washington 3 with Colorado 1.
Yeah, they're of course on the table. They fit with Colorado 1. Eller the clear top priority on that line for me, but Burakovsky at minimum salary, if he does indeed go, is super interesting. No matter if he's not getting power play time.
Future Vancouver Canuck.
You think so?
We'll see. I heard the rumors. I think Elliot Friedman was talking about that a little bit. Yeah, just that the Canucks have called on him. That was like a week ago, though. Okay. So we'll see. Benning's probably like just getting ready to sell the farm to trade for him. So
yeah, I mean, he hasn't. I don't know. From an outsider's perspective, it hasn't seemed like he's gotten a fair shot to kind of produce long term. That's
true. There's somebody at the Athletic did a great write up on him on his underlying stats and how good he is.
He's awesome.
He's kind of a nice buy low candidate for a team looking for.
He's awesome. He's awesome right now until he goes to another team and he gets into a top 6 role, and then maybe he just becomes Josh Levo, where he's just beating up on.
Exactly who I was going to compare it to, right? If the Canucks were to get him and put him with Pettersson and Besser, then
there's no reason not to produce there. Yeah,
exactly. And then the only other, I don't know, what's your take on the Washington D here? Are you going to have some Carlson?
Yeah,
I kind of think he's going to be low owned just because of that red 1. Beside him on DK, so that might lower his ownership a little bit.
Yeah, love
And
Carlson.
then Niskanen has been playing great, and I kind of like Orlov at that price point as well if you need a cheap defenseman.
Yeah, you said it best. I agree with all those. So I think for me, as far as guys I want to jam in, it's going to be Carlson, and then I prefer Orlov. And Orlov and Niskanen are close for me, but with the $1,300 savings on DK for Orlov, it's a pretty easy decision. And Osmo does have him listed as an A value, as you can see there.
Nice.
Holtby and Hutton, you got any strong takes either way?
I don't. I'm kind of, I'm basically just correlating tonight. So I like Grubauer the best, but so I'll have most of him. But
I'm probably gonna have the least of Hutton. So I'll say that it's probably gonna be in the 8 to 12% range, but he's gonna be the guy I have the least of, I think, because
I kind of agree with that.
Caps power play, hate targeting against that.
What's your take on like ownership tonight in terms of these top lines? Like so I'm thinking like Colorado would be 35 to 40% in large GPPs.
Could be.
Maybe 35.
Yeah.
And then like Washington 1 will be number 2.
They might be 20, 25.
Yeah. And then Buffalo 1 and New Jersey 1 kind of right next to each other.
Yeah, I don't think like you might see Hall at, 18% and Heacher and Palmieri at 18%, but I don't think they're all going to be together 18% of the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was having a like trouble coming up with some like one-off plays tonight. I don't know, like for the power plays, just because like I don't know, like obviously I like to correlate, and so I don't generally think in those terms a lot. But I think like Hall, if he doesn't end up going with those on the top line, and then maybe Kuznetsov is kind of an interesting sort of one-off. Like he's one of my favorite guys to just slide into like a power play stack, or just like, because you never know when he's gonna. He's such a great individual player. I feel like he could score with anyone and just create on his own. But.
I mean, you could go Kuznetsov in lieu of Backstrom. You could go Kuznetsov instead of Oshie as well.
And I've seen Osmo do that a lot. Like he'll go Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov, Ovechkin.
Sure.
1-2 and skip on Backstrom.
So. Yeah, you could do that too. Because Backstrom, you're looking for assists. And not that you aren't with Kuznetsov, but maybe a little bit more scoring upside in Kuznetsov compared to Backstrom. All right, last game on the slate. We've got we're probably going to get out here a little early, but maybe we can mess around after this game's done with lineup builder, cruncher or something. Sure. Blackhawks and Avalanche. It looks like this game has gone up to a 6.5 total. So all 3 games look to be.
Colorado's opened at 3.6 and is now at 4.1.
So that, I don't know. Is that an indication that Ward's going on the back-to-back, or is that an indication that it's going to be this new guy, D'Elia?
I don't know.
They seem equally in bad spots. I mean,
they've gone from a minus 212 to a minus 245, which is pretty darn high. Yeah. So, give me a fair amount of Grubauer tonight. I'm sure we'll get to goalies, but I don't know. Like, it's obviously we don't really need to talk too much about Colorado 1. It's the best play on the night, but it's going to be owned as such. So, I don't know. how's your approach? You going to be a little bit underweight and taking some of these other lines in lieu?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to stick at around 30%. So, maybe they end up at 27, maybe they end up at 36, but I'm going to be somewhere near the field. I think that's the play I like to do with MME on short slates with this line.
Yeah.
And I want to do some 6-man stacks. So I'll have McKinnon with the McKinnon line with the second line. I'll have McKinnon line with the third line. And that's also something that Testosterone does on these shorter slates.
Yeah.
So
hugely successful, I think.
Yeah.
As well. So I think that's smart. I think like that works really well for Colorado, and then maybe Washington might be the other team you could double stack and do well with.
Yeah.
Maybe Ottawa. I don't know, but I would definitely those two double stacks are the best. And like I don't think a lot of people do that as well.
They don't really at all.
Yeah.
Because when it does hit, he's the only one. Testosterone's the only one, and he wins tournaments by like 2 points or so.
Yeah. It's a brilliant strategy. I think like as well, if like we're not going to get word on this goalie probably until the pregame skate. So if you're around at what is it, 5? What is it Eastern time? I don't even
6.
know.
Or no, it would be 8:30 Eastern, right? This game starts at 8.
If you're around and you're like, especially if you're drawing dead and your early lineup's drawing dead, pop in Chicago. Just skip on the Colorado, pop in Chicago if you're drawing dead.
Oh yeah, it's a great late swap spot, right?
Yeah. And I think as well, like just having whoever the goalie is for Chicago and just having a couple of those teams is probably a pretty wise play because no one's going to own them.
Like let's say like Washington 1 or Buffalo 1 or Ottawa, that Stone line goes nuts. Like just completely nuts in the first 2 periods, and they have 3 full line goals or something like that. You have to swap off Colorado 1 if you have full Colorado 1 because you can't fit them, and they're very likely going to be the nuts. It is a really good late swap like slate because there's 2 hours. You're going to be able to see 2 full periods of these first 2 games, and then you're going to have a decision to make, and hopefully it's pretty clear whether you should stay put or swap off of Colorado 1.
Exactly. And if you've got like if some of these third lines go off or whatever, and you've got you're looking really good, then you can even swap off some of the Colorado teams on some of your more mediocre lineups, right? And then just kind of hope that the other side of it goes off. Because if you don't have the nuts heading in with your Colorado line left to come, you know what I mean? Like if your third line has gone off, then you know that team is, or 2 of the third lines have gone off, you know that team's going to win. If Colorado 1 goes off or come close, then you could probably pivot off them a little bit too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what's your take on Chicago 1 or Chicago 2 or 3 even? Any thoughts?
I mean, I wish they'd put DeBrincat with one of those top 2 lines, but
take Strome off it or something, or
right now for me, I'm pretty even on the Blackhawks 2 lines. It's going to be because you can fit the Tays line with Colorado 1 and Washington 1 and every other top line. So maybe they get a little bit more total ownership. But I also do think the Anisimov Strome line with Kane is also perfectly fine as a wait, can you fit them with Colorado 1? I don't think you can.
Oh, sure. I think you can for sure. Strome's.
Maybe I was
think
thinking
I actually even did it.
I was thinking it was DeBrincat. I was making lineups on my phone, I think, this morning, and I thought it was DeBrincat before I looked at the lines. But yeah, you can.
Yeah, Anisimov's cheap.
Get a double punt probably. Mark Alt. So. Yeah, you can do
and it. Kane is a nice little rando one-off too, I think. I don't hate it.
Okay.
What's with this guy popping in your models?
Dahlstrom.
Dahlstrom.
Yeah.
Your model loves him.
I know. Have you've been looking at my projections?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I was shocked. I was like seeing this 2,500 in a sea of 4,000s.
Yeah, short sample on him. So there's not a ton to look at just yet, but in his short sample, he's seeing around 20 minutes per game. He's blocking shots. He's putting a couple shots on goal here and there, and this is like for a guy that's willing to block shots, this is the spot, right? They're going to get peppered, and if he gets on the ice against either of the top 2 Colorado lines, or against really anyone, because Chicago gives up so many shots and scoring chances, this could be a game where he blocks a couple shots. If he somehow gets on the score sheet here, you've got a huge game for 2,500. So
yeah,
that's the appeal to him.
I like that. I like that play.
Yeah, it's not great. Like, it's not an all-in play, but if he
Yeah,
makes it work,
he's getting a lot of minutes. He's
yeah,
getting anywhere from 17 to 22 minutes. So I don't know. I can't remember what his stats are in the
he's got
minors. Let me look them up though.
I don't know. I mean,
Is he young? I've never heard of him.
I honestly don't really know, but I do know the numbers that he's put up, and they've been pretty decent as far as shot attempts and blocks.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking
Solid,
for.
like half a point a game kind of a player in the AHL. So that's pretty good. He's only 23 years old.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Could do worse. So this is maybe the pivot if Pollute is the guy that ends up being 6 or 7% owned. You know, maybe this guy Dahlstrom.
He'll be less than 1% owned for sure, right?
Could be, yeah.
What you on Gustafson?
Yeah, he's 4,500, so he's not at a great price. Neither is Keith, but Gustafson is listed on that top power play, and that's the one you want if you're stacking up Chicago here. They've got Kane, DeBrincat, Taves, and Strome, so that's the one you want to target, and Gustafson is there.
I just noticed a lot of pros using him. I don't know if that was because of his price though, and it's starting to go up. But he's also performing really well recently, so. He seems to be firmly entrenched on the top pairing, and Osmo has him on B, A grade for FanDuel. So
Kerfoot really line 2 today? Yes, correct.
Yep.
I think I saw
it's kind of a gross line actually. I like
Comfer.
Yeah, I like Comfer too. I don't like Wilson though.
No,
is it Wilson?
No, but you do get if you do the 6-man stack, you get the full all 4 forwards on PP1, which is nice.
And one thing I do have too is just some Colorado 2 stacks with like Buffalo 1, Washington 1, Colorado 3 stacks, New Jersey, all the other big lines. I love that Colorado 3 line too. It's not going to go on. Soderberg just has like great underlying numbers. Always does well in models. So and like they had they're playing pretty well together. They're not like great offensively, but you know they're not bad for their price.
Yeah. Someone's asking about how to do the 6-man stack on DK on Cruncher. There's not really a super easy way to do it. You kind of have to do it manually, but I'll pull it up here and show you.
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing too many of them as well, so you could always just head on over and do it manually, right?
Yeah, so what I would do is kind of make a group and just say you have to have at least 6, and you go McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen. So the second line is Kerfoot, Comper, and Wilson. So you do this, you'd have at least 6. Make this whatever you want it to make, 2 uniques or whatever, and then it'll just fill in the defenseman and goalie for you. So let's just make 5 of these.
Yeah.
And then there you are. And you can do this with the third line too. So Colorado 1 and 3. I think I agree with you. Colorado 3 is going to be virtually unowned, but if I remember correctly, their numbers actually aren't too bad at even strength.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just not going to be owned at all because you don't really need to go to them outside of if you're going to Colorado 1 and no one's 6-man stacks. So
yeah, that's a really good point.
Let's see what their numbers are. This line has always been one that's they're 61 shot attempts for per 60. Looking at their scoring chances, 30 scoring chances per 60 and 15 high danger chances per 60. Jeez, that's incredible.
That's awesome.
I didn't realize they were that good.
There you go.
All right, maybe
6-man stack it up, pop them in.
Yeah, hell yeah. I haven't been paying attention to them at all, and which is probably a good thing. You don't need to pay attention to Carl Soderberg all that much, but they're going to be getting some really bad Chicago lines. Whether they go up against the Kane line a bunch or the third line, Kampf and DeBrincat or whoever, they're going to be real bad. And numbers don't lie, or I guess sometimes they do, but hopefully they're not here. Are you a big Nemeth guy tonight?
Nemeth? No.
He's 2,700. There's a couple punts we mentioned for 2,500 that are probably better plays.
Yeah.
If Nemeth, if one of these guys gets hurt in the top 4 and he moves up there, that's when I'd want to jump on him because he does do stuff like block shots and he will put shots on goal and stuff. He hasn't really done much lately, and you saw 13 minutes 2 games ago, but he's basically getting all his points on blocks right now.
Yeah, he's not the kind of player you want to target in GPPs, I think, generally.
Yeah.
I would way rather take the offensive upside of a player like Pollute or your boy on the other side there. What do you
Dahlstrom.
think?
Dahlstrom.
Dahlstrom, yeah.
Goat. uh,
Or just pay up to 700 for Butcher if you can.
do you have to stack in hockey? I mean, well, if you're playing a cash game, no. But I think stacking gives you the best chance of having a big score. Not I think, it does give you the best chance of having a big score in the long term.
I think if you're just getting into it and entering a few lineups, I think your best bet if you're doing large GPPs is to either stack lines that aren't going to be owned and hope for a night like last night, and just sort of because there's no point in like stacking the top lines every night. You're just not, you don't have the volume to like succeed and separate yourself from the pack, and like take a very contrarian stance on a goalie and just sort of, you put your one or two lineups in, or just try for some unique stuff. I don't know. I feel like line stacking is obviously the best way to go. But if you're new to it, I don't know, and you're only entering one or two lineups, try to be a little bit creative anyways. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be you need to do some type of stack.
Yeah.
And double stacking is probably the best way to go. So
one suggestion would be, my suggestion would be, is to just start your lineups by paying up with your two top D. Like, just pay up with some really nice D maybe, and then that way it kind of forces you into some unique combinations. Because I feel like a lot of beginners get into the trap of just trying to pay. I've done this as well, trying to pay for just get the best two lines in as possible, right? But a lot of people are doing that. Right. So you might want to just like, for me, sometimes just adding in those really high priced defensemen forces you to differentiate a little bit, especially if you're manually building.
If you're just putting in a couple of lineups, I would unless you're just willing to lose it and have, like, you want to get a big 5K cash or whatever, don't put it into the $8. Like, no, everything's going to be, especially on a night like tonight where every combination is going to be covered. Play the 3 maxes. There's like a $3 3 max. Play that. Play the hip check, the $1. Just get in some lower dollar stuff and diversify if you can.
Yeah.
Just like 100%. Any other sport, don't overexpose yourself.
$3 contest is a lot softer than the 8.
Oh,
because the sharps cannot go in that 3. Yeah. So.
Yep. But I still can.
Nice. What is the threshold actually to stop you from participating?
Yeah, so it's I believe it's $1 million in winnings. So not necessarily $1 million in profit, but $1 million in total winnings on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I'm like 800 or so, 970,000 away.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even close. I started playing higher stakes last season and then higher stakes this season, so I've got quite a while to go.
You're getting there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I'll enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else on this slate we should talk about?
Are you going to do any like Chicago Colorado stacks?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you're correlating goalie, make sure you leave yourself some leeway, and obviously if you're making a rule to correlate goalie on Cruncher, take that out, run a couple more lineups with Colorado and Chicago if you want to have this game stack or any game stack, because it's decently likely that a game stack wins tonight with only 3 games. So that would be my advice. But yeah, I will have for sure. I had that. I didn't know that you could fit Chicago 2, but I was putting in the wrong line this morning, so I just had it in my head that you couldn't fit Chicago 2 with Colorado 1, but you certainly can. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Carter Hutton officially in net.
Carter Hutton? Okay. Yep. That was expected. Keep an eye out for the goalies, of course. For the 47 of you that are watching right now, comment on this video once we are done going live. We are still doing the 24 days of giveaway. You can win a month of Osmo.com Premium for free just for commenting and liking the video. That is important. Our social media guy tracks likes and comments. You can gain additional entries, and that is for the grand prize, which will be announced, I believe, on Christmas morning. So on Josh's show. But yeah,
Christmas. That's a little Christmas present.
Yeah.
For somebody.
So comment something. Comment your favorite thing about this slate. Your favorite thing, whether it's a line or a tournament, or watching this show. Comment something and like the video, and you will be eligible for the free giveaway that we're doing each day until Christmas. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, should be a good one. Don't risk more money than you are accustomed to playing. It's a 3-gamer. Crazy things happen. It's hockey. Crazy
Yeah.
things happen. But what tournaments do you think you're gonna fire up here, Nolan?
I'm just going straight in the $8. I've got about 30 lineups or
Nice.
something like that in there, maybe
There
a
we
little
go.
bit less
Yeah,
than
you've
that.
got a little bit of bankroll to play with as of late.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think I actually like I kind of have the opposite philosophy. I think that these are good slates to put in more money.
Okay.
Just my take, because I feel like you can cover more of your bases. So
Sure.
if you put in more lineups, you're more likely to not lose everything. Like last night was a prime example of like you could, unless you had one that Toronto line or something, you're like I don't know. I lost a lot of money last night just because on a lot of the big lines didn't go off. So there's definitely like just sort of less ways to go, and then that sort of leads you to certain directions, and then you're kind of like the chances you're going to lose money, I think, are less. Knock on wood.
I think in general, I agree. Like, make sure you're diversifying if you're putting in multiple lineups. Don't just go all in on the $8 on one team or one lineup. Like, the reason you want to MME is to have exposure here. Like,
That's
leave
something
yourself
a
some
lot
outs, as Andrew Barron, one of the sharpest guys at our company, says. Leave yourself some outs.
Yeah.
Just have that in the back of your mind.
And then a great way to do that is either just like take that one or two lineups with against your most used stack and goalie correlation. And like don't enter 20 of the same team. I think that's one of the principles that Alex often says. Like you're lowering your odds. So I still see some people do that, and you shouldn't.
Some people train they run a train, it's called, if people are new to DFS. Some people do that with their cash lineups. You know, you put it in a couple times. I mean, whatever. That's fine in a tournament, but in general, I see
like a guy with like 10 or 15 of the same lineups, and it's just
yeah, usually a CSV mistake, I would guess.
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right,
nice, sweet.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here. I'll see you on Monday. Oh no, we got nothing. We got 3 days off.
Yeah, we do. So I'm gonna try to do a show tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it. I have a family tradition going to A Christmas Carol, the play.
Oh, awesome.
So hopefully, if I can get some stuff done tonight for tomorrow's slate, I will try to do a show in the morning before I head out. But projections will be up, everything good. Stacks article, all that stuff will be on the site. Power plays. Are you on power plays tomorrow? Or is it
No,
Chris?
Tuesdays, Fridays.
Okay.
I think it's Chris or
all right. We'll have a Power Plays article out, and you can hit up us in chat. Good luck tonight, guys. We will see you soon.